So the break is over, and the leaks of chapter 236 of Jujutsu Kaisen is finally here. And let me tell you, it's not what we all expected. So without wasting any more time, let's dive deep into the spoilers. So the chapter begins with Geto saying yo to Gojo, who's looking stupefied. Gojo says, "This is awful." Geto pouts and says Gojo is being rude. And you guys already know what happens when a chapter starts with a flashback in Jujutsu Kaisen manga. Gojo says he told his students that when you die, you are alone. So he hopes this is just an imagination. Geto asks, "Who cares?" Gojo replies, "It matters about my father," but then leaves the topic saying he left it to Shoko to handle, so it's all right. So here Gojo mentions his father, which is quite interesting. Then Geto asks, "How was the King of Curses?" Gojo answers that Sukuna was damn strong, and he didn't even go all in for it. Gojo says he's not sure if he could win even if Sukuna didn't have Megumi's curse technique. Geto is surprised that Sukuna made Gojo of all people to admit that. So I guess you guys have already figured it out by now that this conversation is actually taking place in heavens. Now moving on to our next plot point where Gojo says he gave his everything. His trained body, the techniques he learnt, the talent he brushed, inspiration and explosive powers. He says he wanted them to reach Sukuna and hopes it will reach to him, and says it was fun. Then Gojo says he feels sorry for Sukuna because he didn't give his all to Gojo. Geto says that made him feel jealous, but if Gojo is satisfied with it, then he's good. Gojo then says that he would have been satisfied if Geto was also there to give a slap on his back to motivate him. He continues by saying he's glad that what killed him is not time or disease, but someone stronger than him. Then Nanami chimes in to say it's disgusting to hear all that from Gojo because he sounds like a samurai general. Nanami says he once talked with Geto about leaving all the job to Gojo because Gojo didn't consider Jujutsu as something to live or protect. Rather, Nanami says Gojo's a pervert because he used sorcery to satisfy himself. So it looks like there is a chill conversation going on between some old friends. The Nanami says he won't justify Gojo's last moments, but will feel sympathy for him. Gojo thanks Nanami for that. Gojo then bids farewell to everyone. Geto, Yaga, Nanami, Haibara, Riko, Kuroi, etc. And in the very next panel, we can see Gojo's corpse laying on the ground. And this right here marks the end of our GOAT Satoru Gojo. Now back to reality. We see Sukuna explaining Maharaga's adaptation. He explains, once Maharaga receives an attack, it'll gradually adapt to it over time, and the more attack it takes, the faster it'll adapt. Sukuna says he expected Maharaga to be a role model which passes through Gojo's infinity. When Maharaga was first adapting to Gojo's infinity, it was changing the cursed energy so that it would neutralize infinity. And when Maharaga shot the slash, it wasn't the same as Sukuna. It actually expanded the target to not just Gojo but to the space, world itself, and cut it. We then see Gojo has been cut in half as Sukuna explains that infinity doesn't matter if the entire world can be cut. And with an evil smile, Sukuna says, "Good job, Gojo Satoru. I will never forget about you." And as Sukuna says, "Don't let me down," the narrator explains us that without any moment of feeling sorrow for Gojo's death, the one that came in is Thunder God, Hajime Kashimo. And this is where the chapter ends. Also, there is no break next week. So is this really the end for Gojo? Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.